like a bridge over troubled waters. Words to a once very popular song. And it's kind of the place I found myself lately. Maybe you too. You just want to go to a corner and just lay down. Maybe you're feeling that right now. Well, the truth is, we hope to have some timely conversations today, helping you to manage those emotions. It has been a tough year, but we're hoping that we're going to give some invaluable and have some invaluable insight as to how to handle those emotions and ways to maybe navigate some of the hardships we're feeling right now. I'm Andrea Oliver. Welcome to the very first edition of LkldNow In View. Today, I am so excited to welcome a friend. I call her a friend to the program, the very first in the series, where we hope to have some timely conversations and inspiring guests. Emily Rogers, welcome to LkldNow In View. Emily is a founder and CEO of Rogers Consulting, a team dedicated to helping individuals and organizations realize their full potential. Emily is passionate about purposeful living and the role balance plays in getting through tough times. Emily, balance? Tell us exactly what you mean by that.
Andrea, first of all, it is just great to be here with you, my friend, and to be the first guest on your LkldNow In View. Congratulations
Thank
to
you.
you and Barry on this new venture. I'm excited to see all the guests that you have lined up over the next couple months and to tune in to your new show. So yes, we're living in troubled times, very troubled times, and it's hard on us, on all of us in similar ways and different ways. And it is so important that we check in with ourselves periodically and acknowledge the hard emotions that we're all experiencing right now. As I work with my clients who are leaders within this community, who are parents within this community, who are business owners within this community, they're struggling with emotions. There's fear for our health and safety and well-being and taking care of our loved ones and our teams. There is anxiety about the future and what's ahead and all the uncertainty that we're experiencing. And those emotions begin to take a toll, particularly after an extended period of time of crisis like the one that we're experiencing now.
I think before we can even manage, and I don't even, maybe you can point us in a direction that we have to at least acknowledge.
Yeah.
It's okay to maybe feel restless. It's okay to maybe feel fearful, that we come to some place of acknowledgement.
Yes.
Is there a right and wrong way to go about doing that?
Well, I think one, acknowledging that we're having those feelings, and particularly for people with families, with kids at home, recognizing that they're experiencing a roller coaster ride of emotions right alongside the adults. And learning how to just acknowledge that, be okay with that, normalize that is so important, because we are going to experience a wide range of emotions in this pandemic. There are days when we're excited about the work that we do, or looking forward to going to work and addressing a challenge or solving a problem. And there's other days when we're fearful. Yes. Are we still going to have a job? What about our family's financial security? And so there's this range of emotions that we're all experiencing.
And it's really interesting, because I think each person is processing this differently, because each person is experiencing it differently.
Yes.
What a youngster going to school might be feeling is entirely different than what an adult might be experiencing, wondering about whether they're going to have a job, or wondering is my ailing parent going to catch COVID, for example. It has been a tough year.
It has
been. When you don't have someone there to be the caretaker per se, because everybody's going through something, how do you manage? How do you navigate all of that?
Yeah, so I think it's really important to give ourselves and others grace at this time. Yeah, does that
Yes.
resonate?
Yes, yes.
Yes, because these days can be long. They can be stressful. Within our own households, we have stressful dialogue occurring within our households as we're making decisions about our family's well-being and what's next for us. And we just need to give ourselves and each other grace and show a little more patience and compassion and less judgment of ourselves and
It
others.
sounds paradoxical what you're saying, because the last thing I think most of us want to do when we're facing a hardship, the last thing we want to do is to be patient. The last thing we want to do is to extend grace.
Right.
We want to bulldoze our way through
Yes.
whatever and get to the next, get to the other side. So
Yes.
how might that grace look?
Yeah. So, if this were a hurricane like we experience in Florida, it's over in a couple days and then you're cleaning up and recovering. Well, this is going to go on for months and months and months, and we don't even know what 2021 is going to look like. So that is so important for us to step back and have that perspective and recognize that this is a marathon event, not a sprint. And so by taking care of ourselves in the midst of this marathon crisis, that enables us to give ourselves and others a little more grace. And so self-care is another really critical piece of this, especially for women, because the women are really bearing the brunt of the stress of this crisis as they're managing their homes and childcare
Yes.
and everything that needs to happen at work and at home. So practicing self-care, pausing to renew, just simply taking a walk.
Taking a walk, taking
Getting
a
out,
breath.
getting a little bit of fresh air when it's not too stifling, hot and muggy outside. Getting outside early in the morning or late in the evening, taking a walk. Listening to music that soothes your soul and makes you feel good and can shift your mood. Eating healthy foods, right? Staying hydrated.
You mean like the cookies, for
yes,
example?
the cookies. Cookies and treats are good every
Yes,
now and then.
thank
Absolutely. We
you.
all need to treat ourselves every now and then. But it's the simple things. It's kind of like back to the basics of self-care. It's more important than ever these days.
Emily Rogers is our guest today. She is CEO and founder of Emily Rogers Consulting. And needless to say, it has been a rather challenging and tiresome year. And so I think it is critical that we know how to manage the emotions and to manage what we're feeling in a time when we're just uncertain. We don't know. Not that we ever really know what's in the future, but there is a semblance of some type of normalcy, I think, that makes us believe we know what's up ahead. When we're faced with what we've been faced with this year, it seems as if the whole of that is thrown out. You say self-care is important. What are some of the other things we can do to manage that emotion? And I don't think kicking the dog comes in.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. But reprioritization can be helpful, and it can help us create a sense of control about the here and the now and the today and tomorrow. And what are the highest priorities? Where do we need to be spending our time and energy, either with our families or in our businesses or with ourselves? What is it that we need to prioritize today? And what can we give ourselves permission to let go of? Yeah.
It's really interesting because I think, and I've heard this from so many people, that it's in this time and in this season that they've realized that some of the things that they were doing, they could go by the wayside.
Yeah.
That it wasn't that important.
Right.
That they actually could completely do away with doing it. And it seems to me that it's so strange that it would take something like a global pandemic for us to realize that.
Yes.
Why is it that we seem to operate so much in crisis, in really fine-tuning our lives?
Well, as human beings, we naturally resist change. So change is hard, and a lot of change has been thrust upon us. And so when we find ourselves in a state where we're resisting all of this change, it just becomes more challenging for us, and the emotions run high, and we lose our cool,
Yes.
right? We lose our composure. But when we can be more accepting of the change, even though we may not like it, and we can, in the midst of all of that change that's being thrust upon us, decide, make those conscious decisions about what is and is no longer important, I think that helps us a lot in our families and in our work.
Fear is a real emotion
Oh, yeah.
during any type of crisis.
Yes.
And there's the conversation, there's the argument that says there's some amount of healthy fear, and maybe you can,
Sure.
but some amount of fear
Yeah.
is healthy. So
Yeah.
when do we recognize, or when do we realize
Yeah.
that whatever we're feeling, the fear we're feeling,
Yeah.
we've moved into a place or moved over into an area that is truly
That's a
not helpful?
really great question. So as human beings, that emotion of fear is designed to protect us from something or someone or some situation. When it's running rampant, to use your word, and it's what I like to say, sabotaging us, is when we're making decisions from a place of fear that aren't serving us. And so that, and our relationships too. And so it's important to know when, okay, I acknowledge that this is a fearful situation and I need to be careful here. But when we're making decisions that aren't serving us from a place of fear, that's an opportunity to make some adjustments.
We're called to make some quick adjustments, Emily, and some life-altering changes in a time when we're going through uncertainty.
Yeah.
And you talked earlier about making choices to eat right, going for a walk.
Yes.
I don't know that those come naturally to us.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure. Is there a pivotal place? Is there a place where we can start to maybe make some of those changes that not only will serve us during a crisis, but possibly serve us as we continue to live meaningful lives?
So as you and I have talked about before, the practice of setting intentions is so important, and just deciding what you're going to be intentional about that day. So whether it's eating, choosing healthy foods and beverages, or if it's choosing to just have a little more fun that day.
Yes.
I mean, we all need that too, to just break up the monotony and the stress. We need to give ourselves those breaks. We need to find time to play. We need to bring more joy into our lives these days.
You say that we not only are able to grow in this time of difficulty, we can thrive.
We can.
It sounds like a long haul to me, but
yeah, well, it goes back to those emotions and growing our capacity to be with all of these hard emotions that we're all experiencing. We are not alone in this. And the more we can grow our capacity to be with those hard emotions and manage them, the more resilient we're going to be through this crisis, and the stronger we're going to be on the other side of this, which is really exciting to consider.
Awesome. Emily Rogers, I just want to thank you so very much for being our guest today on this, our inaugural show. Emily Rogers with Emily Rogers Consulting. And Emily, if you could share a quick number with us, or contact information.
Yes, well, you can find me at emilyrogers.com.
Awesome, that is good.
Thank you.
And just a reminder that we'll be meeting in this forum on a weekly basis. I'm excited to share with you that our very next guest is the one and only Mayor of Lakeland, Bill Mutz, and he will be sitting right in the hot seat come next time. We'll talk. We'll see you then, and take care till then.